Hello y'all, welcome back. I'm Greg, this is Artist Cycling, and this is everything that hasn't sold. So I thought I'd give you the opportunity to look through the entire unsold, so there's going to be some missing things. I think roughly a third of the paintings have sold already. Of course, all of these are still available, and you can find them through my website, gregleach.com, and I love my little cycling guy. Just look for the gallery that's labeled 2026 Tour de France and Tour de France Femme. And all the paintings are there. Some that aren't here are available as prints. So the tour started with the team time trial, which was a little unusual, but it makes for a safer race because otherwise the first stage, anybody can be in the yellow jersey. They just have to cross the line first. So it makes it a little safer that way. And Caja Rural was the starting team. They're the first to roll down. So this is leading off the tour. This is Tom Peacock from the team Pinarello, which is a bike manufacturer. Q36.5. Sounds like a radio station. I don't know. Movistar. And in this case, they're GC, the team leader, the guy with the 1 in his number, had gotten dropped on the final little climb, and they're sort of looking around. And the team time trial was done in a way that the first guy to cross the line is the team's time, but each individual their time. So what ended up happening is one of the guys went on ahead, and everybody else waited because their leader couldn't lose much time. This is both the Norwegian and Italian champion on net company Ineos's team. So Philip Gana and Tobias Foss. This is the young French rider, only 19, the youngest rider to start the tour since 1923. And this is him finishing his first tour stage. This is losing some time. This is the team of Tadej Pogačar. They lost. They were not doing as well. And they were the last team to go because they held the defending champion. And they lost time to Vingegaard. So his team of Visma, in their much blacker jersey because they can't wear their yellow jersey during the tour, but it put Vingegaard in the yellow jersey to start the tour. Then we go on along the Mediterranean coast. We're still in Spain, one called a coastal break, the early breakaway, the intermediate sprint, and the first one, so this is called first sprint, was taken by Biniam Gourmet, Mads Pedersen, and then some of the other sprinters. This is the Mexican champion, Isaac Del Toro. He rides for the UAE as well, and he had a mechanical and was racing back to get onto the peloton, so coming back to the peloton. This is Take Mine and Go. Again, Paul Sesak. His bike had a problem. The team cars were far away, so his teammate gave him his bike. Very gently put Paul's bike down. And this led through by the Americans. So in the yellow jersey is Vingegaard, and it's two different Americans on opposing teams. So Brandon McNulty and Matteo Jorgensen, who's on Jonas's team. Speaking of Americans, looking for assistance, trying to get a breakaway started. And this is Sean Quinn, the current USA champion. I believe that's the last of stage 3, right? Nope. Still stage 3. This is intermediate sprint. No contest, and this is in the breakaway. Nobody had the legs to compete with Mads Pedersen. Starting the climb first, so one of the first categorized climbs in stage 3. This is Raul Garcia on Movie Star. And then the Virtual King, so this is Alex Baudin on the EF squad, French writer. And so by virtual, it means as of this moment, he is in the polka dot jersey. Whether or not he will still be at the end of the stage, he was. So that's what virtual means. And here they got, this is onto French soil, so they finally leave Spain. And the UAE team is leading. It's weird to see Tadej in the green sprinter's jersey, and behind him Vingegaard in the yellow jersey. I think we're into stage 4. Nope, still stage 3. Baudin was in a breakaway off his own. It's called Shaking a Leg, which is, I kind of like this title because he needed to shake a leg to stay off the front, but he was also having a leg cramp, so he's trying to stretch out his leg. I can relate to that. I always have trouble with leg cramps. And then who and when. So this is, actually it's Del Toro who's in the green jersey. And Picaccia, and then team leaders all being supported by their teammates, and they're just waiting for the attack to happen. That's why who and when. And this is down the back, so we're on to stage 4. The French champion Romain Gregoire, another French runner Kevin Volquin, and these are just on the back of the front group. Also the Czech Republic champion Vasek. Then adding to his total, so this is Balderstone, who's adding to his King of the Mountains. You can see he's cresting over one of the KON points. And then maximum points, sprint, intermediate sprint again. Now there's 25 points, and then on the finale, there's as much as 50 points. So while the intermediates are important, winning the finale is even more so. But this is Benny and Girmay out sprinting Mads Pedersen, and I believe that's Jasper Philipsen. Yeah. But the breakaway got established, and winning the stage and the Malia Vert. This is Mads Pedersen when he took the green jersey, and he never released it. Letting yellow go, so Tadej was in yellow, but didn't want to be in yellow so early in the stage. So the breakaway, it's out of sequence, nope. He let the breakaway get away and gave the jersey away, going it alone. This is Baptiste Verstappen going on a sole break on a sprint stage, a foolhardy attempt. This one is called soigneur, and soigneurs are the non-racing personnel of a team that support the riders in all sorts of ways, including passing out bottles on the side of the road. To Ewan Costo. Another intermediate sprint, dry run. This is Max Cantor, I had never heard of, beating Mads Pedersen and Biniam Girmay in the intermediate sprint. Safe in the peloton, so this is the new yellow jersey, the Norwegian Torstein Tarin, as well as most of the other GC guys. And a clean pair of wheels, so it was a sprint finale. This is Olaf Koy, and he's on the decathlon French team, and he took this stage by a clear margin. Now we move on to stage 6, and this is Mads Pedersen in the green jersey. Not really a sprint in that it was just the two of them away, and I think it's, Victor Campenaerts, who isn't going to compete for the green jersey, so there's not really a sprint there. And Baudin is in the polka dots, but as they head up the Aspin, one of the big Pyrenean climbs, he sort of loses contact, and in so doing loses his jersey. But sprinting over the Espin are Valentine Perry-Poitras and Lenny Martinez, who had the, I don't think he went out. Yeah, he did go out the polka dot jersey winner. Maybe not. But he did hold it for a long time last year. And then dangling is a way to refer to Tarine is just barely hanging on to the peloton as they climb up, the Tourmalet now, horrible climb, and being supported by one of his teammates. Unfortunately, he had a terrible crash coming down. This is him getting back on the bike. He had already lost the yellow jersey, and then he crashed, but they spent a lot of time, and he ended up leaving the race. Finished the stage, but did not start the next day. This is the race for third, so that had happened, and now these guys are racing for third on the stage. Vingegaard is ahead, and of course it's sold already, but Tadej is way ahead and wins the stage and kind of cements his lead. And this is Remco and Paul Sexas, along with Sepp Kuss and Lipowitz, who was the white jersey and finished third last year. Remco left the race last year. So what stage are we on? So now we're on to stage 7, a breakaway. Again, is it Wiestra? Yeah, Wiestroffer along with the Caja rider, being showed what their advantage is, a minute 30. It's another sprint stage. So again, it's really a point in being out there. Another intermediate sprint, and this is why Pedersen went on to win the Tour, win the green jersey, because he was getting all of the intermediate sprints. Biniam Girmay, Cantor, and Jasper Philipsen. Then once everybody was back together, this group made a little stab at trying to get away, but again, it was Tim Merlier winning the stage ahead of one of the UNO-X riders. On to stage 8, 3 debutantes, meaning it's their first Tour, and this time it is Liam Stock from Lotto, along with a Caja and a Total Energies rider. But they were caught in the intermediate sprint. Cantor and Pedersen were watching each other, and Jasper went around the outside. That's on the outside. Oh, actually, so Liam Stock was holding them off. That's the title, holding off the peloton. So these guys were sprinting for second place on the stage. He was out by himself. And they didn't catch him until inside of the last 2 kilometers, which is pretty outstanding. But again, it was Merlier out sprinting both Coy and Girmay. Take his second stage. Stage 9. Girmay trying to get the better of Pedersen at the intermediate sprint. Thus, oh no, you don't. Tête de la course. Now, one of the big things about this Tour was just how hot it was. And this is Julien Alaphilippe, a French favorite, cooling down, I believe, Mark Hirschi. Is that correct? No, Marco Heller, as they're in the breakaway. So there was a whole lot of water being poured on each other. And keeping an eye on the break. So this group is chasing that group. Or actually, this is the new group. And the eye is the TV camera. These guys are amazing. And then what are they up to? And that's what nobody could understand, why UAE was chasing the break. Nobody was going to threaten either the yellow jersey or now Del Toro's in the white jersey, a best young rider. And Vingegaard is wearing the polka dot jersey, but he sits in second place behind Tadej. And they were chasing this break that included the unlucky Tom Pidcock, whose derailleur stopped shifting and he was stuck in a very high gear, easy to pedal gear on a downhill. He kicked it and made it work, shockingly enough. This is that break again. So it's Matthew van der Poel and Tobias Johannesson and Tom Pidcock. And van der Poel, he's a former world champion and a very great one-day classics rider, and this stage just suited him perfectly. And he's got a pretty good sprint too, and he was just managed to outsprint Tobias again. Where's that Scarset? No, that's Tobias. Now we're on to the next stage and the next intermediate sprint. I tend to start with the intermediate sprints each stage. Cantor and just barely not beating Pedersen. The last guy, and in this case it's referring to the last guy out front. And it is, I can't remember, but Movistar, Javier Romo. But now leading is Carapaz, riding for EF, flying down the other side of the climb, down the Puy-Marie. And anticipating again all the principles of the race, the yellow jersey just in view, Vingegaard, and they're anticipating a move as they climb. As I recall, a move that never really came. Nope, here it is, off he goes. So they've caught Carapaz, and now Pogačar takes off, wearing his all-yellow kit. But behind, racing, launching off the front, these two jumped free, Van der Poel and Valent, in hopes of King of the Mountains and stage honors. Pere-Pointre. Do we switch stages now? Nope. So big names in the break, and that was more because of this great camera angle. So you have to imagine the the guy on the back of the motorcycle with the camera is now down low, shooting up, hanging off the side, catching these guys in the skyline. One of the things they rarely show is the guys stopping on the side of the road peeing while they coast along, but always referred to as a nature break. But I caught Alex Kirsch peeing on the side of the road. One of the rules is, they have to do this. It's a 5-hour day, but they can get in big trouble if they do it where a fan can see them. So it gets tough finding a spot. Rolling through, these three are working well together. So rolling through, each one taking their turn on the front. This is the flat out sprint. This is one of the ones I'm surprised I still have. And the stage went to the UNO-X rider. That's Scarsbeth, I believe. Now Warrensgold, with Coy, Philipsen, and Ferret behind. Stage 12, another breakaway. Alone again. This is Baptiste again. He really should have gotten the most aggressive for the tour. And then he's joined up with these guys. What do they think? What are we thinking? He's literally asking, what are we going to do? What are we thinking here? And these are Pedersen and Vinokurov, who is the Kazakh champion, coming back through the caravan of cars and rejoining the peloton. And his third, so this is Jasper finally got, is this Jasper? No, it's Tim Melier. Sorry. There's Jasper. Pedersen. Binmai. Coy. But it's the third stage for Tim Melier this tour. And why he chased, so referring to the fact that Peterson had been dropped, but he chased back into the lead group, taking third on the intermediate sprint. Gourmet and Philipson. And the next to go, so this is Plapp. Yep, Luke Plapp, jumping free and trying his luck on getting away for a stage win. He's here along with Mario Schmidt and others as they crest over the summit. Capturing the move. So it's Mario Schmidt, Plapp's teammate, and Tejada of Astana. This is Jaco Alua being filmed as they are off the front. This is the group that they had been with, not closing. They never got back to those guys. And just enough road. They almost got back, but these two went first and second with Schmidt getting the stage. Now we're on to stage 14. This is running a little long, but there's a lot to look at. So this is the view from the back of the breakaway as they descend the Grand Ballon. And this is sprinting. There was actually a drop. There was a downhill section in the Grand Ballon. This is sprinting up the Grand Ballon with Valentine and Carapaz vying for the top of the mountain. Coming across, this would be Tymon Arnsman from Net Company Ineos, trying to get across to the leaders. This is maintaining, which is literally maintaining their gap, with Teodoro back in his champion's jersey, and can't remember the name of the teammate. And we have Vingegaard looking at his teammate while he's on the wheel of Tadej. Becoming King, so this is this virtual thing where again, Valentine Perrin-Poitras with Carapaz behind him was the virtual king of the mountains, but he didn't end up pulling on he ended up pulling on the jersey, but not taking the lead in the competition. This is twin brothers and teammates, the Johannes twins. They're actually triplets. And this is Carapaz going again. He has the bands of the former Ecuadorian champion. And Tobias behind him. Yes, Tobias Johansson getting dropped by Carapaz's attack. Further down, Are You Coming With Me? I believe it's Perrin-Poitras and is that Lipowitz with Tadej and Vingegaard behind. Now he goes. This is sort of what and why he's in yellow. Tadej would have everybody with him and just take off, and nobody could go with him, including now in the white jersey, Paul Sexas. No, that's not Paul. That's Arusso for Lidl Trek. Paul Sexas, Vingegaard. So this is racing to the podium. So these three are vying for second, third, and fourth on the stage, and that's kind of their positions on where they hope to be at the end of the Tour de France. Didn't work out so well for Vingegaard, but more about that later. Sexas and Del Toro. So now we go on to the next stage, 15, right? Yep. Not yet established. This is one of those days it took forever for the breakaway to establish. And then it won't be today, so Perrin-Poitras hoped to take this jersey in earnest, to own it himself, but he got dropped, so he wasn't going to claim it after trying all day. This is probably one of my favorite moments of the tour. This is Michael Kwiatkowski stopping to find his own children and wife, I'm assuming, on the side of the road on a flat stage, and took the time to pull over and say hi. It's just too dear. This is the American on the French team, Rigatello, getting a bike swap from the team. Quicker than changing a tire, just give them a new bike. And then here, this one is what is the plan? So this was the stage where, again, just like UA had done earlier, Visma is riding really hard, chasing the break, and nobody can figure out why. So what is the plan? And unfortunately, what wasn't the plan was the crash. And this is Vingegaard leaving the tour with a broken collarbone. He slid and caught that curb. Ugh. Is that the end of stage 15, or do we keep going? Nope, we keep racing. And this is with conviction. This is Sean Quinn, again, the American champion, trying to get away, trying to win a stage, and fighting to stay in white. So behind are Paul Sextus, now in the white jersey of best young rider, certainly the youngest rider. And on his wheel is Florian Leipowitz, who won the white jersey last year and took third place. And out sprinting for yellow. So Remco Evenepoel actually out sprinted Tadej on a mountaintop finish, which was just amazing. He's somebody who left the tour last year because he just fell apart. Then we go to the time trial. This is the whole thing about the 13 being upside down. This is printed though. It's not even, they just decided that everybody's going to wear it upside down anyway. So, but this is, Bruno Amarai, former French champion in this discipline. So flipping Visma's luck. So this is after their team leader crashed out. Settling in, just getting started, is the American Matteo Jorgensen. Can he regain white? So this is Arusso trying to take the white jersey back from Paul Sextus. He had it earlier, riding for Lidl Trek. And first goes last, so you always start in reverse order. So the highest or least amount of time in the GC, the highest on the GC, is the last to start a time trial. So that's Pogačar, and first goes last. Sextus is in a fan favorite, cheered all the way by the predominantly French fans, although the tour draws an international audience. Making a beeline to the finish is this Skelmos? Yes, Matthias Skelmos, finding the middle of the road to fly down. And now we move on to the next stage. So several of those sold. Not amused. What, is it Tyson? Yeah, no, it's Dorian Goudin, French rider on the, I think, English team, Net Company, had been cut off from taking the line. He won it by the Shimano car, which is neutral support, and he was not happy about it. I've made this gesture to many a motorist. Suffering together, these two, the other Johannes, Anders Johannes and a sick Adam Yates were way off the back, just barely got in before the time cut. Whereas at the other end of the stage, with 4 kilometers to go, without their teammate, Matteo Jorgensen was hoping to win the stage. He didn't. So where are we at? Are we at 18 yet? The points are up the road. No, still. So still wearing on loan the polka dot jersey of Valentine Perrepointre, along with Mauro Schmidt again. Is that Mauro? Yep. Carapaz is with him. Perrepointre is scooping up all the points. Grabbing all of the King of the Mountain points on the stage, chased by Carapaz on every one of them. One more peak, still on 18. So he managed to stay in all of the breaks, which is pretty amazing on a lumpy stage. Pedersen took one more peak to make sure nobody was going to contest the sprint. he has a teammate right here. And then Who Among Us? So out of this group, Who Among Us is going to win the stage? And I don't remember. Stage 19, climbing in green. So this 19 started out with another big climb, and Peterson managed to hang tough. Caught back up for the intermediate sprint. Is it enough? Meaning, will that be enough points to keep it that it's mathematically impossible to take the green jersey off of him, which was the case. His teammate Vasek, along with Michael Matthews, another sprinter, who was climbing very well this tour. And now we're starting Alpe d'Huez. So these guys started the climb with a 4-minute advantage. And it's 12 kilometers. They had a 4-minute advantage. So it really looked like Arnsman, and then it was the first to pop off. Along with Lenny Martinez, Sepp Kuss, I believe. Yep. And Richard Carapaz. Then through the Tifosi, so huge crowds on this climb. And now, as I said, Arnsman is gone, so it's Martinez, Carapaz, and Sepp Kuss. And the rest from that stage sold on to stage 20. I will point out, Carapaz won the stage, which was what put him in the polka dots, hurting everyone. Paraponto is trying to chase him down as they climb up the Croix de Fer, past the lake. They've come around the dam. And then, yet again, even though with these big climbs, Peterson was able to be in the front and outsprint everyone. And this, absolutely, this is mine. Not only was the sprint his, but so was the green jersey. Still on that climb. No, now we're on the Telegraph, Col de Telegraph. This is the American again, Rigatello, on the back of the breakaway, grabbing a bottle from his team car, hanging tough on the Galibier, so the next climb. Warren Barguil, who was shown for a moment in the tour and just has not lived up. No, that's not Carapaz. That's Sean Quinn, the other American in the tour. And Tobias again. No, this is Anders Johansson. And the King wins again. So back-to-back stages for Carapaz, this time wearing. He's an EF rider, so that's this pink on his chest. But wearing the polka dots. But behind, Super Domestique. So Tadej actually switched his role and was really helping his teammate Del Toro not lose time in the competition for the white jersey. And he sits in third, so this is first and third in the tour. And he's making sure he still holds that third place. And then on to the final stage, and there's only a couple of these still available. So this is procession up the Champs, and it is tradition for the Yellow Jerseys team to come onto the Champs-Élysées first. Now that this year they started on the Champs, so after the second lap, the last of the processional laps and photographic opportunities, all of those sold. His team in their special 5, because he now is he's the 5th rider to win the tour for 5 times, not in succession. One rider had them all stripped, but that was Lance Armstrong, and he's won 7. So 5 guys have officially won 5 stages. And then who was with me? This was coming back down Montmartre after the first time. It's Van der Poel, and he was chased by Tadej. He really wanted to win the stage. He came close and then got blown away by Wout van Aert last year on this circuit. And, oh good, and then the final painting that's still available is desperately close. So these two came around to the final sprint with all the sprinters coming up behind him. Pedersen, Vigago, Ferret, Philipsen, who is, Van der Poel's teammate. Back here is Coy. Way back here is Cantor rather. They did catch, but Van der Poel was able to outsprint him anyway. I don't know where he found it. Just like suddenly found a whole nother gear. But Tadej again did not win the final day, and he won the Tour, so he was a little less incentive than Van der Poel. But ended up like 30th on the stage inside of the last 700 meters. So that's it. Of course, you can find all of this work at my website, gregleach.com, GREIGLEACH.com. And of course, Saturday I start painting the women's Tour de France. It's called the Tour de France Femme. And there'll be videos for that as well. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it.